Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Samin, and I am the host of the Semi-Ish Show. I want to thank you for hanging out with me just a little bit. I realize I have little to no mic control. I'm like, I hit the mic, I hit it with a cup, I smash it. I'm always fiddling with it, trying to get the sound to sound as good in my ears as hopefully it sounds over there. And I wanted to talk about men again. I wanted to bring that up again. What does it say? Be a man. Stop crying and like be a man. So in the last couple of days, let me stop. Today is the 11th year anniversary of the death of my mother, right? And I'm going to be speaking about and to Black women and men, but I want to be clear about what I'm saying right now. This mic is definitely in my way. Yeah. All right. So I want to be clear as I speak about certain things. I've given my mother a hard time. My mother at times deserved a hard time, but not probably as much as I gave her. And I want to speak about some of the language that men hear growing up from mothers and people. And I want to be so clear that like my mother's issue was my mother was a drug addict. That was her issue. My mother didn't yell at me. She didn't beat me. She didn't put hands. That wasn't her thing. That wasn't the trauma that I received from my experience as a child was the child of an addict, right? And I do say trauma. It was traumatic. And I'm okay with saying that. Some people are not as okay saying that it's traumatic, but I think it's traumatic. It's traumatic to put hands on children. Just my opinion. I think that really comes from slave culture for us. I think it's really heavy. I think it's heavy in grandmama, and all of this stuff. But I have some photos. I have some things I want to talk about because I saw some things on this Facebook in the last couple of days, and I was like, that's uncomfortable. And to read some of the captions that certain people had about some of these visuals, it's nothing traumatic, nothing like gross. It's just some photos that I'm sure most of us have seen before. But when I was reading the captions on it, there was this like indignant of like, yeah, that's how it is. Oh, I would do this, and I'm gonna show it. But before I go in, I wanted to acknowledge my mother's. She died 11 years ago today, and I'm going to be speaking about moms. And I know I think I've done a disservice to my mom in a way where people like, I've had people ask me about they see Precious and they're like, was it really like that? And I'm like, what? Why would I know? What am I, a spokesperson for like traumatic, scary, frightening horror films? That's my opinion of Precious. I think the only thing was missing was like the father didn't come back alive on the back of a dragon and eat everybody. You know what I mean? It just was like everything. The mother and the father and the baby and the AIDS and just 18 people shoved into one person, right? I didn't come to talk about Precious, but I have had people question me, and it made me question, why do you think it's okay to ask me that? And then I had to realize, oh, I'm putting things out there and they're filling in the gaps. So I want to fill in the gap. Drugs was the trauma. That led to like poverty. That led to like scarcity. That led to the most traumatic things I've ever experienced. There's nothing more traumatic than hitting that light switch and it's not coming on. And it's not coming on for a couple of days, right? That's traumatic. Food, where's the food? Like that type of stuff is the trauma I experienced from my mom. Okay, so I have some photos. I'm trying to figure this out. You got to bear with me. I want to see how this is going to work. This is one. It's asking me if I want to share, and I'm saying yes. And then I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to, is that going to work? Is this the one I wanted to share? No, it's not. I don't want you to look at that. It's not that one yet. Don't stop sharing. Don't look at that one. Don't look at me. Don't look at that. See, this is what I don't know how to work this, but I should have labeled it better. Okay, so we're gonna try again. We're gonna get this one. I want this lady. I want that to be the one I share. Can I get what I want? Can I have the stuff I want to happen? That would be so great. And if not, I'll figure it out. And we're just gonna rock. We're gonna go out of order. Okay, that's sharing, right? Is that sharing? Can you see? Can you see any of this stuff? I can't even see what's happening right now. I don't know what's happening, people. Oh, I got to pick the one I want to share. That would work. Again, not that one. Not that one. I'm guessing I'll be right on the last one because this dude is. I'm trying to figure it out, and I appreciate your patience. Share that. Share that one. There we go. I am so great. Okay, so it's this one, right? It's this photo. And you can see that. Oh, you can see that. And it says the caption on, oh, you can see the caption. Your kid acting up at church, grandma, and your mom or your mom does this. What do you do? My answer to that was it would never get to that because I handle my kid. I check my kid. I'm so in tune with my kid that that would never happen. And if it did, me and my kid are leaving because there's no agreement that anybody's putting their hands on my kid. And that's what my statement was. The other statements were not a damn thing. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to be quiet and keep reading the Bible. It's some stuff that was funny, right? I'm going to keep reading the passages just to make sure that I'm not next. And there was something about that, the comedy. It's like the comedy and the laughing to step away from the trauma. Cause I'm a watch this now. What? Can you still hear me is the question. Can you still hear me? See, that would be great if you could still hear me. And now you could just see the photo and you see my little image. But yeah, it's that is she's putting her hands on his mouth. He's clearly saying, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. And can it be okay that he's not okay with that? I think yes. I think it is okay for him not to be okay with this woman touching him. I don't care what he was doing. And why I connect this to the past, right? There was a time that we needed to be quiet or it meant death. It's not be seen. And that was years ago. Now there's an argument that right now we're being killed, right? I'm not having that conversation. I'm having this conversation about this little boy being choked out by his grandmother. And she's covering his mouth to shut him down and shut him up for whatever that represents. It's not funny, right? It's not a funny thing, and it's really abusive. And there's a space that we don't talk about abuses. We don't talk about certain things. They just become the what is. That's just what it is. That's just how we are. That's how grandma is. Now, I have an aunt. My mother wasn't interested. She wasn't interested. My mother parented me the way I parent Cyan. I let Cyan get away with things. My girlfriend's like, yo, she look at me like, yeah. When we met on Match, that was the spoiler alert. I literally wrote, spoiler alert. My child is spoiled, right? She's spoiled. And what I meant by spoiled, I didn't mean like spoiled rotten. I meant like, yo, she can say what she needs to say. And she can do because I need her to be heard and know that she is important. And I didn't always have that for myself. Excuse me. I didn't always have that as a space for myself, that I could be heard and I could be listened to and my opinion mattered. That starts at home. So this is the one visual, and I think it goes back and it keeps going back. And if you go back far enough, it was life and death. It's not life and death anymore. It's just really like death, right? Like our kids are dying off. Low self-esteem, low self-worth. I've experienced that. And that comes from, in my opinion, if you don't know that you are important and loved and cared for, I'm not talking about buying gifts. I'm not talking about any of that other stuff. Beating and hurting is trauma. And when we can start to talk about trauma in a way, extraordinary things will happen, but it never gets talked about. It gets laughed about. It gets laughed about the same way that it was laughed about on cards when they had little babies, like cartoons, hanging over alligators. You know what I mean? Like it's in that same world. Like black skin is funny. It's funny to do that. And when I see other black people laugh at that, it's just like, You just more of the same. And that just might be me. You might be looking at me like, "Doug, you doing the most. You saying the most right now." Perhaps. All right. I got another one. Now this one, the next one is from my cousin had this posted up. It created a different conversation. A conversation. I'm stuttering. Look at me. A conversation different than this. I can tie it together, but it's different. It's with a mom. It's with a mom, and this is why I put out my mom thing. Right, I'm gonna stop showing that one, and I'm going to try yet again to get this right, and perhaps I'll come across looking like a saint, looking like I knew what I was doing the whole time, and they showed the same thing again. Your boy is going to be fired. You don't fire me yet. Just stick with me. Okay, let's see. So if that happened and that came up first, because it keeps showing the same photo, can I tap on that and make that be the thing we share? That would be so brilliant if it worked like that. Is it working? Okay. No, can I pick it? No, you can't pick it. You can go over here and try again and fail, but we're not going to fail. There we go. Oh, that's not, it's so not it. It's so not it. I'm having a difficult time right now. I appreciate your patience and working out with me, but this is, I'm going to describe it, right? As I work, I should just show you. I have to show you now. You can't not see it. You got to see it. Okay, you got to see. You got to be a part of it, or else it's like, what are you doing to us? You're torturing us. I mean, do you see that? I see things on my screen that you probably don't see, and I'm sure you don't see what I'm seeing right now. This is why I don't try. This is why I don't try new things. This is why I don't, because it's like, oh well, look at you. This is not working. Okay, let's try it again. Nope. That's the lady again. Got it. So how about I delete that? How about I get that out of the topics? Hang out. I appreciate the people that are still hanging out with me. Like, I'm trying, Si, but you are doing the most right now. You are doing the most. And by the most, we mean the least. Okay. And you are wrong again. But I'm giving everything away right now. What's happening? But. It has to be one of these other ones. I only got two. So it has to be, if not that one, then maybe this one. It's going to be like, no, it's me again. I'm done. I'm not even going to talk anymore. I'm not even going to talk. I'm trying to talk you through this. Get you to hang out. I should play music right now. It has to be this. Okay. I'm just going to talk as if it's coming up, and it is. Here we go. Thank you very much for hanging out with me, because I'm figuring it out. I should have labeled it better. Okay, so this one says, stop. I can give you something to cry about, which is a statement I believe that we've all heard. We've heard that. I'm going to give you something to cry about, but I'm crying already. Why would you give me something to cry about? I'm already crying. It's in that world. Like, why would you do that? Why would that be the thing that has to happen? I'm already crying. Right? Something I can't say that I've ever heard from my mother. I'm going to keep, on this day, I'm going to keep protecting my mom. Just in case you come in at some time, you're like, oh my God, he's talking about his mother. Nope, not my mother. I've heard it though, from other people in my family. Not my mother. What does it say? Stop, I could give you something to cry about. Boys and men do not cry. Well, that's kind of written strange. And I've heard that before, in that world of making this little boy into a man. Be a man is what I've heard. Be a man. This is very clean, because it's where it has the tendency to go is stop being a, right? And stop being a he, right? I've heard that. I've heard that from the community. I've heard that from the people, the family. Heard that from my boys. When I started to really actually talk about what was going on with me as far as my feelings, when I got that, oh, wait a minute, this little burning inside my chest is this discomfort is a feeling. Like, wait, and what is the feeling? Of course, it was anger. And then I learned something came before anger, because anger, these emotions and these feelings are secondary. But what came first? And it could be sadness. For me, a lot of sadness. I started to connect to sadness a lot. Like, oh, I'm sad. Why are you sad? I'm sad that I'm sad the way you're speaking to me, but I'm sad that I've done something that made you think that it was okay to speak to me like that. Right? So I'm sad. And now I'm angry because that's secondary. And now I want to, pummel you, like a cartoon, a comic strip. So that's one of them. That's the one thing. So stop crying. So we get these little boys, and we've seen them, we've experienced them. Some of us are married to that little boy. Some of us are divorced from him. Some of us maybe possibly raising him. Some of us worked for them. You know what I mean? It's just this world that gets created around this person who now I grow up and I don't know how to feel. Like the fact that I talk about having feelings that I didn't have it, that I had the ability, and I didn't have the ability to express feelings until I was 30. How many relationships I've been in? You know how many relationships that I only experienced a few emotions? Anger being like the number one. And it starts to create that as the conversation. Like, oh, I'm happy or I'm sad. Never sad. I'm angry, mad, frustrated, pissed off. Like these are the feelings that are available for men. These are joyous. But you're so joyous. What you love? Free, loving. Those are not emotions I had access to. I don't know if you know some boys, some men that have always had access to that. That has cost me thousands of dollars to be able to do the work that it's taken for me to shred and shed some of that external baggage about what it takes to be a man. What is it that's a man? Then they call it metrosexual. Like, you got manhood, then you have like, well, stop being, I forgot the last one, which is like, what does that have to do with anything? Stop being like a man who's like a woman. It's like, what? So all of that is the baggage that comes from being tapped into emotions. I don't want to beat up on the black woman, right? Because this angry black woman is just so overdone. It really is overdone. It's like, okay, we got it. Without the conversation of, why is she so angry? Right? That's always my interest. Like, my interest is, why is she angry? She might be angry. She shows it externally. Yeah, some do, some don't. I said earlier on the podcast, like, white women, I'm fascinated with how they can be completely apes, bananas, and don't show it the same way, right? They don't show it the same way. That's the withholding. I talked about withholding. They withhold and they keep it poised, and then you get it later. But they will say something so deadly to the men, not to the boys. I don't know what they do to the boys. But it's also in this conversation of our little children. And I'm a timeout parent, and I've been ridiculed for being a timeout parent. My job is not to have my child fear me. Not interested. And I don't think I would, even if it was a boy. I don't want my child to fear me. I'm not interested in punishing her physically, because that's just not my approach to parenting. But then there's layers, right? So now you have a young black girl who's going to grow up to be a black woman, learning how to be traumatized, physically abused by a man. Training her. That's basically what that would be doing. That would be training her for that. And I've dated women who were trained for abuse, so much so that they will pull for it. And I would have to check them like, yo, I know you want something that I'm not willing to give you based on the way you're approaching and coming towards me. You want me to do something that I'm not going to do. I'm not that dude. Now, those dudes are there. It's not me. That doesn't make me good or bad, right? It's just like, that's just not me. That's some game you want to play. I'm not playing that game. But that's training. This little boy, if he's getting beat, or as he's getting beat, not being able to, can't cry. Like, are you serious? You know what it took for me to cry? I can actually remember the first time I cried as an adult. I was watching John Q. I think that's the movie, John Q. And Denzel was going to kill himself so his son could get his heart. If I don't know if I'm 100% right about the scene, but that to me was insane. And I started crying and it was uncomfortable. I was like, what are these things coming down my face? You know what I'm saying? Like that type of like, what am I bleeding? It was like, no, it's tears. Why? Because I'm being emotionally, I'm emotional. I'm being requesting to behave like a human. Cause that's like a human, not a tin man. And so the growing up with that type of energy around where you can't be a man or you can't be a boy, you can't be playful, you can't be whimsical, you can't be soft. Like these are the terms that go along with certain behaviors. You know, cause you got to man up. Man up, I'm 6. Or even the nice stuff like, hey, yo, come on, little man. Not a man, I'm a little boy. I'm a little boy and I want to go play frisbee. That's what I want to do. I just think about frisbee because I was playing with Cyan the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I just want to do little kid things and I just want to play and I want to skip and I want to, you know, and a lot of that was taken away because it's not cool. The little boy skipping is. I'm mad because it's like, is it cool? I mean, why not? I would love to see a little black boy skipping. Never saw it. I've never seen that. There's a new commercial out where this little girl at the end, a black girl with her dad, and she's walking with her dad, and this little girl is skipping. And I was wondering, like, what did the director have to say to her to get her to do that? Like, just skip with the guy. Just skip. Cyan used to do that with me. Cyan used to hop and bop and, you know, do all the things with me. Now, it was just like, sit your ass still. I never said it, but I would be like, yo, you kid, you sit. But that's that joy and bliss. That's that joy and just I'm having fun and there's nothing in the world to take away my joy. These type of things have assisted in taking away a lot of joy because I can't just be. So now I have to be a man. Men don't cry. Everybody cries. Everybody cries. I'm going to bring up the other photo. This should be a little bit smoother. We're going to try one. I mean, it's part of this. It's a part of the same series. It's part of the same series. Second half. This is the second part. Let's see. Okay. You've already seen it. It's not even a surprise. You're like, I saw that 2 days ago, so I mean. All right, let's see what we got. All right, I'm too big. I don't want to be that big. I want that one to be big. Good. Now, this is what I can't figure out. All right, so this is the second part. Why can't you just show me why can't you show me a tiny bit of emotion? Now, what I don't know is that the mother years later, which could be, but they would have made her look a little bit older because it's the same face. When you put them together, it's the same face. But she has the short hair and he's much older and he's wandering off. Or is that the girlfriend who now has to deal with the little boy who couldn't cry? The little boy who had to be a man at 5 or 6. The little boy who was getting choked out by his grandmother at church. You know what I'm saying? And here you go. Get married. Ta-da. Right? And so that's the whole setup. I don't like the angry black woman face. That's the thing that bothers me about this whole script. It's just like, but that's not the point. That is not the point. The point is you got to think about the beginning to now you seeing this end. And he's not emotional because it gets stomped out. It was stomped out. I do not want to beat up on mothers. Right? I do not want to beat up on mothers because then where did she get that from? Right? And there's a conversation about there's no father in this, right? You see a father in the script. So there's the mother, and the mother has to now raise this kid. I get that. She has to do what she thinks both parts would do. So it's an old conversation that can go back a few generations. Like, so where's the man? Because the man would take the boy and explain, I didn't have the man. So my life was not for my mother to be a man. It just was like knock it off. And my mother was tough. My mother was tough. Now I'm not gonna tell this story. Yeah, my mother was not that lovey coochie cool mom. She wasn't. She was raising me. She already had 3 kids that were now living with their grandmother that she had to give up. Or I don't know. I don't know the situation to which that happened. I know I grew up for me for a long time as the only kid until I realized later, like, wait, I got brother and sister, 2 sisters. Oh, great. And but she was raising a little boy in the inner cities of Harlem. I was born in 74, 70s, 80s, crack. You know what I mean? Like all, and she had a drug habit. I could give you some wiggle room in there, right? But you can imagine the concern and the language. And she was of the street. She was a street person. So it would be like, yo, just suck it up. It wouldn't be like, oh, you crying. It would be like, yo, go lay down. She would take care of me. I remember her like putting things on me. If I was cut, she would bandage it up, never taking me to the hospital. She was definitely that. Like, you're not going to the hospital unless you're bleeding and something's hanging off. And it was a request to man up. Like, just man up a little bit. The friends would call me little man. Hey, what's up, little man, little man? And it's nothing. That's not harmful. But I'm not a little man. I'm a little boy. But that's more of the generational conversation. So when you see this young guy here, I'm going to say that's his girlfriend. Would it be any different if that was his girlfriend and not the mother? Now I want to see the other photo. Because I think, yeah, it's the same t-shirt for sure. He's got the same color t-shirt. But that's his girlfriend. That would make a point for me right now. So if that's his girlfriend, or not his wife, I don't see a ring. They're not making any reference to a ring or anything like that on her finger. I can't see it. But if it's the girlfriend and she's dealing with all the baggage, and he doesn't even know that that's a conversation to have. Right? I didn't until I did. Right? I didn't walk around saying, oh, I got feelings that I need to express. No, it was like, yo, I'm mad, I'm tough. Ain't nothing happening to me. Y'all could do whatever y'all want to everybody else, but you're not doing it to me. You gotta man up in the community. You could be cool and funny. And I never want to paint the picture like I was a robot and everything was dismal and dark and I lived in nah. Lots of fun, lots of laughter. The community was dope. People have fun. And then, but then you start to make fun and have fun in the trauma because nobody's speaking to the trauma. And if you don't speak of the trauma, then you don't get to heal the trauma, which is the issue. It doesn't get healed. So when I say I spent thousands of dollars, literally, once I got it, that the way I saw life was very like the horse with the blinders on. It was one way and it wasn't working for me. I had to go and start to do things I'm doing this swervy hand movement because that's like unwinding the trauma, like a piano. Like you got a piano, you see a piano, and the piano needs to be tuned. And the piano's tuned and it's flawless. Immediately it starts to get tight again and needs to be tuned, reconditioned. I have it that I need to be reconditioned. I can get it. I can go to a course. I could walk on flames. I could meet people. And tomorrow morning I got to wake up and some of that stuff is right back again, and I have to do the steps every day. Like I'm clean and sober. I don't drink. I have to call my sponsor every day. There's certain things that I need to do every day. I have to condition the mind to really be clear. And one thing I don't want to raise is my daughter to be like this emotionalist person. So I have to embrace her crying. Sometimes she's crying, and I'm like, yo, dude, go in your room with that. That's the first instinct. I don't even know if that's me, but that's what comes up. Then I'm like, come over here, what's the matter? And she'll lay and she'll sob and this is linen. I mean, all of that. Like I'm being light, but it's like all of the emotion. I have to be there to allow her the space to cry, allow her the space to be right, allow her the space to be wrong. But I have to allow it and let her be 10. You know, my girlfriend says jokingly, "Oh, you're already in preteens." No, she's not. She's 10. I have to say that. She's 10. Let her be 10. Don't even plant that in her head. She's 10. She's 10. And she's every bit of 10. Yeah, she's tall for 10. Oh, you look, oh, no, you don't. No, she doesn't. She looks 10. And she doesn't even look tall. Maybe your kid is small. Let's not do any labeling because we take that. We take that to the bank. She's a 10-year-old little girl. And I have to take my baggage and set it to the side because it's still there. What are you crying about? Can't be that important. It's not that serious. I want to go into her little situation with her girlfriends and her friends with my adult brain, fix it, cut the time in half or less, and send her on her way with the answer. That doesn't work. I have to let her fiddle and figure it out, and then I have to embrace it and not make her wrong and be with it. I don't want to be with it most of the time. I don't know if that makes me a bad parent. I do not want to sit with it half of the time. Like, what are you talking about? Don't want to talk about that. But I never say that. I will listen and I will recreate her. I will get her. I'll be like, I can understand that. Well, I understand why you feel sad. And if she'll ask me that, it'll take a while. And she'll be like, Dad, have you ever been something like this? And I'm like, yeah, I've been through this. And it was really sad for me. Did you cry? I'm like, no, that happened like 2 weeks ago. No, I didn't cry, but I wanted to. But anyway, listen, I'm going to wrap. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I apologize for the mix up with the stuff. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And this is like not a good visual. I look bad. The microphone is in focus. I'm not at all. Can you see me? No. Oh, this is bad. Okay, here we go. All right, my peoples. Yeah, so that's something that came up over the last couple of days, and I just really wanted to touch base on it, address it just a little bit. I don't want to get on a soapbox about it. Yeah, but I did want to just, what is this? Bring truth to, what's the saying? Bring power to the truth, bring truth to power. There's something going on, especially when I see people with the black woman choking the little boy out, the comments, and it was buffoonery and it was insensitive, and it got agreements and laughter. And I guess we laugh to avoid crying, but it was a lot of I'm old school and that's how it goes. How'd that work out for you? How did it really work out? Some people will be like, it worked out fine for me. I had a family member that said, well, you really not going to, you're really not going to do anything to your son. You're not going to punish her. I was like, well, I'm going to punish her, but I'm not going to put my hands on her. She was like, yo, you gotta have them fear you. They gotta fear somebody or the police to get them. Something in that world where it was like, or not. There's a lot of people who walk around fearless, and that fearlessness goes into life and risk and taking risk and adventures and travel and all kinds of other things. We cannot overlook that the beating and the laughter about it. For me, I always want to keep it clear. For me, it's unworkable. It just doesn't make sense. It's unnecessary, and I don't think it's funny. Nobody cares what I think, but I don't think it's funny, and I've experienced some of that stuff. Not from my mom. I got a family. I was a big boy and I got pinched and hit and some stuff like, hey, what you doing that for? Because I'm clear that a lot of that frustration that gets taken out on children, because parents are living these lives that they're disempowered in, and they're so frustrated. But you won't do that to your boss, though, who kind of gave you somebody else's fouls to do, and you never do it there. You do it, so it's almost like bullying. But yeah, it's your child. Is it bullying? And if you get an agreement and have people laugh at it and tell you that's what I did too, and ooh, child, and all of that stuff, then it doesn't seem like it's that crazy. But it is, though. It is, because it doesn't work. I live so close to Trenton. It's craziness happening in Trenton. And do I know that their parents have been beating their asses for years? And what? You beat a kid's ass and what? I know enough people personally in my life who were beaten in a way that's just like, oof. But they still ended up in prison, right? They still ended up, it didn't avoid any of the idea that if you don't give them something to fear, then they got to fear the police. It's nothing. It's just personal. It's your own little life, and you just want to take out your frustration on the kid because they're not doing what you want. You know how many things Cyan doesn't do that I actually? How many times I have to ask her to take a shower? Yo, I asked her to take a shower last night like 6 times. I was like, yo, for real? If I got to ask you this again, it's going to be a problem. What's the problem? When is it going to be a problem? What if I just don't say anything and let her go to bed dirty and wake up and go to school dirty? Maybe her friends will tell her she stink. Maybe. Maybe they'll be like, maybe you smell real ethnic. I don't know. I'm going on. Listen, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm gonna figure that stuff out because I would like to be able to bring things in, but that would, trust me, I know that was sloppy. That was sloppy. But hopefully the content, the audio was enough to maintain. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Listen, love your daughters, and from what I'm seeing right here, love your sons. Take good care of them. Take care of them. However, and I don't want, I hope that I didn't make somebody wrong. Like, oh, wow, this is what I did my whole, I'm just talking about my world and what's workable for me, right? And what's workable for me. My mother gave me a lot of rope. She would let me stay up all kinds of, I mean, it's dysfunctional, but I could go to bed 2, 3 in the morning. She didn't care. But what I do know is you're going to school tomorrow. That was her thing. She was like, I would come, I would laugh with her. I'm like, she was like, you still up, huh? I'm like, yeah. She was like, okay. 6 o'clock in the morning, she'd be on that door. Oh, are you kidding? You want to be up all night watching Ralph Crandom and all? You want to be up? Yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop with Arsenio Hall all night. Still going to school. Or you getting out of here. I knew the deal. She didn't give me a bedtime. She had a bedtime like, go towards your space. Be in your space at this time. Do whatever you do in there. I tell Cyan to go to bed. I'm like, you need to go to bed. She, cool, can I read? Nope, no reading. No reading. It's 10 o'clock, no reading. But if I crossed the boundary, if I, made you wrong about something, I apologize for that. That's never my goal. Because if I make you wrong, then I can't actually get you to help me build. And I'm trying to build something. And we all have different point of views, right? I'm giving you this black man's point of view who comes from where I come from, who is where he is right now. And I take what works from the past and I implement it in my present with the idea of creating a better future. Now that sounds like I wrote that, but that was pretty good. You're like, that was pretty good. Listen, love your daughters. Love them. Love your sons. Love your sons. We need love. We need to know that we're loved. We need to be cuddled, even if we give you the elbow and push you off. We need to know that we can cry. We can be emotional. We can feel like I don't understand and let that be okay. Like I don't understand how to fix this and I shouldn't have to because I'm 9. Just we need to be loved. So love your sons. Love them. And you might need to love your boyfriend. And he's going to, or your husband. We might have to, because we don't know better. Some of us do. Some of us like, some ain't shut up. Go ahead with all that, son. I've been woke, son. Maybe. I'm waking up, and I work to wake up, and it costs money to wake up. It mean money. You could read some books on it, but it costs me money because I put skin in the game. Because I need you to tell me right now, deliberately, wake up. It's like, oh, I never thought about that. But love your son. Love the men. Today is to give some love to men week. I'm back at it. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out with me throughout my little technical difficulties. I'll figure it out and have it be a little bit more in tune. I appreciate you. Peace. Peace.